Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Saturday morning. I hope everyone's all right. Hope everyone is okay and they're having we're looking forward to a good weekend. Obviously, Spurs don't play this weekend. The next time we play will be the 6th of March, so in a few days' time. At least Spurs aren't playing this weekend. You can enjoy your weekend with a bit of peace and quiet. It's pretty sunny out there, so hopefully wherever you are, the weather's not miserable either. In this video, we are going to talk about a report surrounding Bayern Munich and maybe a summer transfer plan. And they're interesting Heung Min-Son. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about also Samu Aghehowa as well from FC Porto and Spurs maybe having interest in him. It kind of feels very interesting that a lot of links to strikers are coming out. So I want to talk about that as well. And it's not going to be a very long live, I promise you. I've got stuff to do. I've got to go out and do stuff. So it won't be a very long one. Let's jump in and talk about it. Morning, Spurs. Morning, Steve. Joshua, how are you? Only 4 matches this month I've seen, which is good. Yeah, there's international break coming up, so that'll be why. Yes, let's talk about this weird old report surrounding Bayern Munich. So I literally never know how to pronounce the source, but fixtures or fixtures, however you might want to say it, said that Bayern Munich want to sign an experienced forward this summer and have added Son Heung-min or Heung Min-Son to their list of potential targets. Now, I don't think that's crazily shocking, if I'm honest. Obviously, Son has played in the Bundesliga before and had some success. That's where we got him from. Knows the language. Obviously, Harry Kane's up front, and those two as a combo were magnificent, world-class together. So in terms of seamlessly maybe fitting in, he can. Not a problem. Will Spurs do it? I don't think they will. He is still our best attacking forwards. When I talk about the midfield and, we might move on from Basuma, which I think I've got a bit of an update surrounding him. And I always go, look, he's coming to the end of his 20s. It's a good time to cash in on him. It also is because Basuma is not one of our better midfielders. I think Bergval's ahead of him, Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski, you can all put them ahead of him. Heung Min-Son is still our best attacker. 20 goal contributions already this season. He had 27 last year. So, and I said, you've got March, you've got April, and you've got May. So in the next 3 months, if he got 7 more goal contributions, which isn't crazy, he would have continued on from last season, when last season he was actually playing out of position as striker. So I don't think Spurs will do it. I think they want to next summer find their long-term replacement for Son. Is that Mikey? Is that Odebear? Is that someone else? But I don't see them doing this for Bayern this coming summer. Now, look, he would massively upgrade Bayern Munich, massively upgrade them. He is better than Gnabry. He's better than Koeman. He's better than Sane. If you've got Son on one wing, you've got Elise on the other who, Elise again scored yesterday. Absolutely unreal. And Kane up front, that's an incredible front three. It's a front three that Spurs could have potentially have had only a couple of seasons ago. So that's also another thing that hurts a little bit. Morning, Simo. How are you, my friend? Bayern Munich need to change the name to Bayern Spurs. They think they can use what they owe us on Son. I don't know what you mean actually by that, Joshua. Morning, Hawkeye. Jazz, how are we? So look, there is that with Sonny. I don't see it happening, if I'm honest. I think he's here next season. And I think it'll be something similar in terms of, a rolling 1-year situation where, if the season's going well next year, Spurs probably look to extend him another year, and that, I don't think is a bad idea whatsoever. I think that's shrewd and I think that's smart. So there you go. Let's talk about Samu Aghehowa. So caught offside saying that Spurs are considering a summer move for the Porto striker, Samu Aghehowa. He only moved to Portugal from Atletico because his move to Chelsea fell through in the summer. I was referring to Kane when I think they'd try and wiggle their way around lowering the price. Well, that for us, we wouldn't pay any attention to. We go, well, we're already going to get that money from Kane. We don't want to sell Son. If you want Son, here's our price. You pay our price. Them owing us 60 million will change absolutely nothing. The only way it does, the only factor is Tell. If we sign Tell, that changes it. But if, right now it doesn't. So look, Samu Aghehowa, let's talk about him. So he's a 20-year-old striker from Spain. because he came from Atletico Madrid. Shocking. He is 20. He turns 21 in early May. This season, across the competitions of Liga Portugal, Europa League, Allianz Cup, and the Taça del Portugal, he's played 31 times, 19 goals, 3 assists, so 22 goal contributions in that time. And ironically, if you were to take away his Allianz Cup and Taça de Portugal, he's actually got 28 games played across the Liga Portugal and the Europa League, and he has scored 19 times and 3 assists. So, he's having a very, very good season. There is no denying that. Now, there's a couple of things that make this deal very much more difficult. So Atletico still own 50% of his transfer rights. Porto have 2 options to purchase a further 15% for €5 million each, which can be exercised until July 2025 and July 2026. So I'd expect them to take up that option. Even if he has a bit of a down year next year and he only ends up scoring and assisting 20 goals a season, you're still going to be able to cash in and make loads of money. He does also have a release clause at €100 million. Only watching versus United, he was really good. Look, I think he is good for sure. My point was when it comes to the attacker situations, we're getting linked to a lot of attackers at the moment. And it would make me think there is a potential for Richarlison to move on in the summer. Now, I know he has somewhat rejected the idea of leaving Spurs. I get that. It doesn't mean he would stay at Spurs completely and he'd see out his deal. I don't see that happening. I do actually see Richarlison moving on this summer, so you would need to replace him. Now, is Tell that replacement? Potentially. Do they view Tell as maybe a right-wing option? Maybe. Well, obviously, I've always said, let's just see what we have in Matisse till the end of the season. It's still very early doors with him. But for striker, if Spurs are to be looking at a striker, we talked about Liam Delap as well. We've talked about a few different options. And I still think Spurs are going to be active in the attacker market, with the right wing being a factor in there as well. We've been linked to Visser from Brentford. I think we got linked to Evan Ferguson for a little while, although he needs to get his career back on track a little bit. I was trying to think of who other strikers we've been linked to. In the past, it's been like players like Dusan Vlahovic, obviously Kolo Muani. So you can see that there's a real ambition to try and bring another attacker in. Obviously, if you're moving off of Werner in the summer, that frees up a squad spot. Will it be a Lancashire maybe coming back into the fold? Maybe, we'll see. But I don't see Solomon being back in the fold. I don't see Brian Hill being back in the fold. So you'd have an extra squad spot in the attacker position. Obviously, Reguilon move on. You'll have another defender position you can free up. If Basuma moves on, there's another midfielder situation. If you move off of Fraser Forster, there's another a goalkeeper situation that you can then use his squad spot for. So that's my thinking when it comes to the squad this season. I think there's going to be a bit of an overhaul again, which I think it needs. I don't think it's crazy, but yeah, I think Richie will move on. I think they'll swap his spot for another attacker. That's my thinking, at least. Morning, Sonia. How are you? Bye, Richie too, and Forster and the Ball Boy too. Hi, Andy. Do you think Ange will be in the summer? I think he'd be sat. No, he's going to be here in the summer, mate. I think we'd get 25, 30 million for Hill and Solomon. I think just a tad bit less. I think about 20 is my thinking. Maybe 25 if form continues, especially on Solomon. We talk about Solomon loan roundup every Tuesday, and his form this season has been very, very strong. And if it is to continue, obviously Leeds play in an hour and 15 minutes against West Brom at home. Massive game, by the way. That's Leeds have played some really big games recently. Sheffield United, Sunderland, and West Brom all playoff minimum, but also automatic promotion sides, and Leeds have beaten 2 of the 3 so far. The third one is today. And Solomon's been really, really massive for them, actually, the last sort of couple of months. Really, I think once he got past the injury, found his legs, found a bit of form, found his sharpness, I think he's made a real impact on Leeds. And I think Leeds will buy him in the summer. Obviously, we've talked about them having interest in Solomon, but we've also talked about Everton having interest in Solomon. So you would think there's going to be a team in and around the Premier League that are going to want to buy him. Spurs can cash in on him for sure. Brian Hill, and we know have a release clause, but we don't know if Girona will take up that 15 million euro release clause. I think Spurs would probably come to the table and go, let's get a deal done. You know, you might struggle with the 15 million, maybe it's 10 million euros, but Spurs get more of it up front or something like that. You know what I mean? And you just guarantee you're getting him off the books, Solomon off the books. And that's why I think sort of 20, 25, I think somewhere in there is where I'd be. Mr. K, how are you, my friends? Total at each total. Ange needs to look at how Areola sets up his team. If he does this, he would win more games for sure. Okay. And I'm sure if you mentioned Archie Gray winning Young Player of the Year, I think yesterday he did win London Young Player of the Year, very much deserved. He's a rock star. He's going to be an absolute rock star for this club, as you know, I say. Solomon's a useful player. Yeah, I just think Spurs are going to want to cash in on him. You know, they've got Mikey, they've got Odebear, they've got Son for that left wing position. I do think he's kind of odd man out now. And I think Spurs, you know, if you can get 10 million for Solomon, I think you just cash in on him. Cash in whilst his value's high. Obviously, you got him on a free as well. Cash in when his value's high, move him on, and use that money towards an attacker, you know, or whatever you want to do. You know, Hill, you get a few quid out of him, get a few quid out of Solomon. You're moving off of Werner and Reguilon. There's a lot of wages you're saving out of those two. You know, that's over... Yeah, it's probably about, what, 225, 250 grand a week you're saving on those two together. I mean, if it's 250 grand a week, you know, we're talking about $1 million a month, 12 million a year on just Werner and Reguilon. That's crazy money. That's crazy money. Jesus. And then Forster, you know, I feel like Forster's going to be done this year because obviously now you've got Kinski, you've got Vic. Vic's obviously now would have had 2 years in the Premier, be the experienced keeper in the room. You know, he's in his later 20s. You know, you got Brandon Austin as well. I think Forster, you move on, you save a few quid on him. And before you know it, you see the wages Spurs save on just players moving out the door that they're not going to need. And it's not even players they want to sell like a Basuma. You're thinking, that's just crazy, the money in football nowadays, isn't it? Do you think we get 20 to 25 abyss? No, I don't. I think you get about 15, 17 and a half. I think something similar to what you got for Højbjerg. Levy would glad to cash in on Son too. Levy prefers... I mean, I don't know if the offer for Son was good, but I think they're probably looking at Son going, he's still our best attacker. He makes the club so much money anyway. Morning, Dante. How are you, my friend? So look, there's that on Basuma. If I can just find this... there was a bit more info that I found out about this. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I believe Villa might be interested in Basuma, which doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me, Basuma. But I think there will be Premier League clubs in for this summer. Look, I think there'll be... You know, there'll be a team in France keen on him, like a Monaco. Wouldn't shock me if Monaco would be interested in a Basuma. Germany, a Dortmund. You know what I mean? A Dortmund screams out for a Dortmund. I don't think anyone else in Germany. Italy. I feel like Italy would be all over him. He's not going to go to Conte because Conte hates him. But I feel like Syria could be all over a little bit of Basuma, maybe a Juventus. Inter, I don't think would take him unless they move off for a Tessie. Roma would be all over Basuma. It screams a Roma move, doesn't it? But yeah, I think there'll be a lot of teams interested for this summer. And I think Spurs make sort of 15, 17.5 million on him. You get that money. I mean, if you think about it, you get that. You get, say, 10 million on Solomon. You get 10 million on Brian Hill, right? Let's say you just get 20 million between those two guys. It's nearly 40 million on those three guys that you're not going to need going forwards. You know, you factor in, you're moving off of Werner, you move off of Reguilon, and you're like, actually, that's huge. the ability to replace would have taken a leap. Now, they might look at it and go, actually, we're going to put all of those funds that you make out of that and just going to put it to Tel or the attacker. If you maybe you don't even sign Tel, maybe it's the attacker. Not a problem with that. You know, Danso's 20 odd million quid. You shouldn't have any concern about paying that. That's easy out of the funds. There's a lot of funds there to do that. You know, you need to go and sort out what you're doing at left back to left centre back. What's going on with that role? Midfield, you'd have to replace Basuma. Attackers, you know, Werner's moving off. What are you doing there in terms of the winger position? You know, the irony is you got your right back position sorted. You got a keeper sorted. You know, if Richie moves, there's the striker. You need to replace them. Then your striker position sorted. Your midfield starting to take a bit more shape. I think, you know, a bit of a mix-up and an injection into that would really help. And before you know it, the squad's starting to look a little bit more like it should, you know. Syria could suit this, yeah. Ben Score is much more cleverer than Eve. We do need a better holding midfield player. Annie, long time no see, Annie. If we lose Son, then let alone player. We'd also lose our fan base, and fan base's ticket sales would drop due to the loss of Korean fans. Well, you never know. But how are you, James? 40 for Richie would be nice. I don't think you're going to get 40 for Richie anymore. I think that ship has sailed. I think you would have done for Richie maybe a year ago, in maybe the previous summer, but just because of like this season, like the lack he's played, I don't think any club in the world is going to go, yeah, I'll give you 40 million for that guy. He's not going to be fit. I think 2025 maybe now for Richie. I'm really struggling to see his value in terms of that. You know, unless someone's really stupidly willing to overpay. And I love Richie. I love his attitude. I love, you know, how much he cares. But I also love a player to be on the pitch playing and not being injured. And I do feel for him. I think some of his injuries are just really, really unfortunate. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I think this season we had a striker fit alongside him to able to rotate, maybe would have been good. But it's the way the cookie crumbles. You can't always have everything you want, you know. Just number 6 in the middle for me would be a game changer. You never know. United might let Agate go in the summer. I don't really rate Agate. I never have personally. Spurs fans really did, didn't they? They were like, for such a long time, they were like, oh, Agate, he's so good. And he came to United. And I was like, that is what you deem so good. I don't think he'd get into the Spurs team right this second with the issues that we have. I see Yang coming into the first team during next season since he's performing quite well in the Championship right now, plus the Korean market he'd be for. He is, I mean, I'm going to try and get away this idea about, you know, markets and things like that and just look at them as footballers. Yang does look exciting. You know, the fact that he's gone to the Championship and had some success for a decent enough side, it's something to hold on to, but you know, early days. Let's let the guy to have to the end of the season. Good thanks, Andy. Been out with my dad and little brother for a dirty sausage butty for breakfast this morning. Oh, that's a shout. I think I've got a bacon sandwich lined up for tomorrow morning. After too many drinks for I'm going out for my birthday pints today. So after the carnage that I put myself through today, I think a bacon sandwich in the morning tomorrow is probably where I'm going to be. I love how much time Richie has off. Agate at Sporting was really good. Yeah, but that's the issue. It's like a lot of players. Amorim said something really fascinating. He was talking about how some of his players who are out on loan right now are doing really well, who have struggled at Man United. And he said different situations for different players. You know, some situations work for others better than you know, other teams. And I think that's really fair. I think it's a really honest take. I think, you know, players like Anthony probably would be much better in the La Liga compared to the Premier League. It's not for everyone. Just like the Premier League, like the Premier League's not for everyone. La Liga's not for everyone. Serie A, you know, not every league is for everyone. I mean, let's talk about it. Jed Spence wasn't really good in Ligue 1. Was all right in Serie A, but, you know, they didn't even want to pick up his option for 8 million. He looks pretty good in the Premier League. So it doesn't work for everyone, you know what I mean? So I think Yang has another year on loan. Don't hate it. I'm not saying the market is the main reason. I'm just saying the commentator fans. No, I know. I'm just, for me personally, I'm going to get away from the idea that Son has this market in terms of what he brings in. I just look at Son as the footballer. And as the footballer, we look at him, he's still our best attacker. You know? A lamb kebab on the way home and coke with bacon sandwich and water after that. Mate, I've got one ready. The Pepsi Max. I've got it ready, mate. Don't you worry. I've opened it. I've had a little bit so it goes a bit flatter. So it's a bit of a flat one tomorrow. It's not my first rodeo, you see. Well, we all see any player what goes to United fail. Yeah, I mean, look, Man United's been a difficult. It's been a difficult place, you know. So glad Spencer's option wasn't picked up. 8 million. 8 million they could have had that fella for. 8 million. And they said, no, we don't think he's worth it. Oh, really? Do you not? Well, let me just have a quick look. Because Genoa, you're in 12th. Feel like Spence might have helped you there. I don't know why I'm gassed about that. That's weird. Don't know why I'm gassed about that. I can tell. How are you feeling towards AZ, Andy? I'm feeling good. AZ, let me bring up, sorry, hang on. AZ Alkmaar fixtures, because they played the other night. Hang on, right, here we go. More matches. So they played Sunday, the 23rd of February, home to Fortuna Sittard, and then won 1-0. They went to penalties in the cup semi-final against Heracles and won on penalties, but that was on Thursday. They then played tomorrow against Herenveen, and then they play us on the Thursday. So they're going to be playing Thursday, Sunday, Thursday. Okay. Let me just bring up the Spurs fixtures so I have it down to a T. Spurs would have played Wednesday, and then not at the Wednesday, and then a week off to play. It's 8 days actually until that Thursday. And I know we have to travel, but Holland isn't exactly a long flight. So Spurs should be coming into that pretty rested. I mean, the fact that they'd have played, that would be their third game inside 7 days. We'd have played twice in 8 days. That's huge. We should be going in there a lot fitter and healthier. We should be quite fresh compared to all things. And look, if we go in there and we get a good result, and let's say it's 2-1, we win 2-1, right? You're coming back a week after that with Bournemouth at home at the weekends. You're coming back and you'd be sitting in a pretty good position going, we're at home. You know, the big boys are all back. Slanky's back. I'm talking second leg, by the way. Slanky's back. Big Romero's back. Oh, Mickey's back. Richie might be back. I'm just saying, you know, and now you get to factor in the Spencers in the European squad. You've got Tell in the European squad as well. Danso's in the European squad. Ooh, Danso. I bloody love him, by the way. I absolutely bloody love him. Spurs, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Genoa turns Spence down at 8 mil. I bet they hate seeing his form now, absolutely. Romero and Solanke both started training. Might need a little bit more time, though. Can't rush Romero. No, I think we'll see more likely Bournemouth. I've always had that attitude. Bournemouth would be the one game that I think we'd see him. Maybe Jen was a risk at 8 million based on what he showed at Genoa. We're away first, right? Yeah. And he comes Spurs will smash him if we. No, I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying we can't smash him. What I'm saying is, if we come out with a maybe more of like a realistic attitude of we're not going to win 4-0, right? That's my attitude. We're not going to win 4-0. We win 2-1, all right? You're in a really good position for the second leg. That a draw would send you through. And to be honest, when it comes to the Europa League, my attitude now will not be, how did we play? Did we really play some sexy football? My attitude is going to be, did we win? Yes, brilliant, job done. Did we win 1-0? Did we win 6-5? Don't care. Did we win? Yes, job done. That's the attitude with knockout football. It's not about how you play in knockout football. It's just winning. The Premier League's a bit of a different beast, and playing well, you know, it infests the club with good vibes and form. Just cup competitions. Did we win? Yes. That's what I care about. You know, obviously, if a performance goes well and you know, I'm very happy with that, but that isn't mandatory for me. Might be for you. You might want to watch good football, but us draw 2-2. I'd rather win 1-0 in knockout football. I'm going to get through. You might be able to go to penalties, you know? And let's be honest, with recent managers, we've not exactly done very well in Europe. This is Ange's first knockout campaign, so I'm going to hold judgment on Ange and European football and how he does with Spurs. I can only go off what we have previously with other managers. We didn't play well. We didn't get through. So for me, just win. If you play well, grand. I'm thrilled with that. But just win. That's all I give a damn about. Ajax Frankfurt will be an interesting game though. I think Ajax are going to beat Frankfurt. I watched Frankfurt the other night. Who did they play? I think it was Bayern. Is it Bayern? I played them last week, I think. I thought they were naff. I really thought they were naff. Maybe it's just because it's Bayern, it's a one-off game, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't impressed by them. I think losing Marmoush is massive for him. We might win 4-0. We might. And it'll be 5-0. There you go. We might win 4-0, but Steve thinks it's 5. No, need performances. That's your call, my friend. With the players coming back in the next few weeks, do you think we could have had a strong end to the season? Yeah, we will have a strong end to the season. We will. I mean, you're bringing back your 2 starting centre halves, your number 9, you're back up to the number 9. You factor in your starting left back starting to get some fitness. You're starting right wingers in there a little bit more, or at least the rotational right wing option. Your midfield starting to get a bit healthy. Your best creators coming back. So you start to factor it all in. All those really massive positive things that, we have in that squad, we are getting back. I think we'll get 2-1 in the first leg at home. First leg, and at home, we've got an unbeaten record, so I'm seeing 4-1 aggregate. Oh, we are unbeaten at home. Good shout, Joshua. Well, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that 6-2 on aggregate. Give me that. Now, it'll be a 4-1 win. It's an Ange system, so we'll let him one for sure. Yeah, vibes though. Got to let him have one. It's not fair if you don't. And don't forget, we have also played at AZ this season. We have beaten them. We're going to be a little bit healthier over these 2 legs compared to when we played them previous in this season. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. If we play good football, we aren't drawing 1-1 against Europa League teams. Okay. Thoughts on today's match, Real Madrid versus Antony? Real Madrid should win. Thoughts on Arsenal going Kimmich on a free transfer? I think he'll end up going to City. Iriola's done nothing zip as a manager. If you see all the stats, Bournemouth are a lot like Spurs, and they also have a lot of injuries. It's just ironically a lot of their injuries are coming towards this part of the season, and then obviously they get Zabarnyi sent off, which when we play them on the 9th, that will factor into us. So he won't be playing against us. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. It was supposed to be a short one. I've rambled on for 28 minutes. Thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your days, your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, wherever you're in the world. Enjoy your weekend. There's no Spurs, so enjoy it. I'm back hopefully tomorrow, if not Monday. Depends on how hungover I'm going to be. I'll be back then to speak a little bit more about Spurs. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days. Peace.